Okay. Well, we're rolling.
All right.
I think that torch is just about nil.
Yeah, I got some matches, but
So yeah, they were listening to it and they like it.
well, that's good.
Oh yeah.
So, it's like I've been thinking about this a lot, and it's like, hopefully people get something out of it. It's just us to, kind of shooting the breeze about our experiences in the industry and our thoughts, and hopefully someone will get something out of it. I mean, I know there are far better, more experienced QSR people, but
we're different.
We're different, and we think differently about the industry. And hopefully it'll resonate with some people.
And I think we just have more faith in people.
Yeah.
Due to the fact that we're not micromanagers.
No. And one of the things that I think about a lot is that, obviously, I think I did a LinkedIn post about if you take care of your people will take care of your customer.
That's the reason to take care of your people.
Right.
Customer first, employee more first.
Right. And that is probably a little bit of, anathema in our industry.
That's a nice word.
And that people, it took me some time to get there. But, obviously, we get into any industry. We get into it to make money. That's the goal, right? And so I think generally when you do open up a business, you're not opening it up with the thought of, I'm opening this up
to be in the red.
Yeah, I'm not opening it up to be in the red. I'm not opening it up to buy myself a job. I'm opening it up to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's, that was my mindset too, and Bud's, it was, we're opening these up to make money. And it took us a little while to get to that point that we're going to make more money by serving our people so they can serve the customer than by constantly pounding on our people to hit this labor cost, hit this food cost, hit this, do that,
And you got to check your ego and let go.
Mm-hmm.
That was a bit of a hitch I had this morning when I was checking the updates at both stores. And we had a shift lead at Zealand post yesterday's metrics and give an item by item breakdown, just like I would. And she was posting pictures of them cleaning the cabinets, them dusting the vents, and doing all of this work during their downtime. And initially, I was like, well, I should be doing that. But then I just thought about what we've been talking about. It's like, well, this is exactly what the whole point was.
Right.
Right? Zealand is running by itself.
And then that's the sign. I mean, I've said this too many times. If your store cannot run without you, you're not a good manager. I've told you that, right?
So then how do we get away from that redundancy and crutch in the industry where a lot of concepts and franchisees have this hourly mandate requirement on their RGMs to be in the store for 40, 50 hours a week. And sometimes it is just purely redundant at that point, and it's robbing other people of opportunities and hours.
Well, you know my philosophy on setting hours for managers,
mm-hmm.
And even for salaried managers, not just hourly managers. What is it that I always say? You need to work as many hours as you need to work to get the job done.
Yeah.
I have a rough idea in my mind how many hours it takes to get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to mandate to you how many hours you need to work. But if I start seeing you only working 30 hours a week, I know you're not putting in enough hours to get the job done. But in the reverse, if I start seeing you working 50 or 60 hours a week, you're also not working enough hours, or you're working too many hours to get the job done.
Yeah.
So I never dictated how many hours you had to work.
To me, the latter or the former was a little bit easier. To me, if I were in your shoes, the former would be easier to manage. Hey, you're not working enough hours.
Mm-hmm.
How did you negotiate or deal with the latter, where somebody is working too many hours? I mean, when I first started as your unit manager, I still remember my timestamps for my first 3 weeks: 87 hours,
Mm-hmm.
and then you cut me down to 62, and then you cut me down to 55, and it wasn't until a month in that I was actually at 40 or under.
Right. I mean, there are going to be times where you may have to put in that 60, 70-hour week to get the job done. Part of getting the job done, obviously, is hitting your metrics, your KPIs. One of your KPIs, obviously, is labor.
Mm-hmm.
But, there are times where you have to. But if it's consistently, then I'm going to go in and observe and say, hey, let's talk about why is it taking, what are the obstacles that are coming up? What are the problems that are coming up that you're constantly putting in 60, 70, 80 hours a week?
Mm-hmm.
Because one, I don't want you to burn out. Because then I have to go through the whole thing of trying to replace you.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Especially if, I don't want you to burn out if you're a good leader. If you're not a good leader, see ya.
Yeah.
Right?
How did you balance that with some of your good leaders in the past, where you're kind of on this balance, this fine line between them burning out, but then also this is kind of what it's taking in order to get the job done?
So there are times where I had, all right, you know what? You are going to take the next 4 days off. Get out of the store.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to see you. And that store that's 3 miles down the road, that manager's going to MUM both stores for the next 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
Because you need to get out of here and just think.
Yeah.
Yeah, did it cost me a little money? Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But how much did it cost me to have to train up a store manager? 50, 60,000.
Mm-hmm.
So am I going to spend, a few $100s to save 50,000? Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like buying $100 bricks of gold for $10.
Yeah. Right. But then we're going to evaluate why, what are the roadblocks? What are the obstacles? What is causing you to have to put in this much time?
Mm-hmm.
And if it's 9 times out of 10, it's a labor problem. I mean, that's the biggest thing. It's a labor problem. Sometimes it's process. Sometimes it is prioritizing, and we'll go through prioritizing,
Mm-hmm.
and what are the top 3 priorities today, and forget all the others.
Yeah.
What are your top 3 priorities today? And then forget everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And if you take time off, and I've said this to you before, and sometimes you have to especially in the leadership style that we practiced, where you would develop such conscientious leaders and such loyal leaders, that sometimes you'd have to tell your staff, do not call me unless you got robbed or the store's burning down.
Mm-hmm.
Don't call me for anything else. Don't text me. Don't send me pictures unless the store's burning down or you got robbed.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to know if you hit your metrics. I don't, even if it's, hey, look, we're number 1. I don't want to know.
Mm-hmm.
Don't call me today. And I've told you that before too.
That's something I struggle with.
All right.
I struggle with
that is the biggest struggle of the conscientious, loyal leader.
Yeah, because it's my day off doesn't mean it's their day off.
Right.
And it's like, do I at least want to make, even if it's just an update on how they did yesterday? That's always it for me, David, is the guilt piece. It's like, it's my day off, but it's not their day off.
Right.
Right.
I mean, there are times where I would have to be held accountable for that. And, my accountability partner is my wife.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, don't answer that phone. Do not answer that phone.
Yeah. I think it's,
And I devote, in the book I'm writing, I devote a very, very long segment about rest.
mm-hmm.
Because our industry in and of itself is an extremely stressful industry.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And so that portion, I think, is a very hard concept to grasp for franchisees, for executives, for leaders, for managers. That concept of rest is extremely hard to grasp.
Yeah.
And that's probably one of the hardest things for them to grasp.
It's hard for me to grasp. And then that's one of the biggest forms of self-sabotage for me, is that I don't take enough time to rest. And then where I see it manifesting itself as self-sabotage is because then I begin to become resentful of the customers.
Become resentful of the customers, you become resentful of the employees, you become resentful of the job, you become resentful of your bosses.
Mm-hmm.
And that shows up. It may not show up tomorrow, but it is going to show up in your performance at work, which affects profits.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you practice being a servant leader in the QSR industry? Let's just look at one day. Someone's called off, store's ungodly busy. The people that closed last night did a piss poor job.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some drama going on at the store.
Mm-hmm.
And we're about ready to hit, lunch day part.
Yeah.
How do you, in that instance, practice servant leadership? I mean, I think that, we talk a lot about these theories that we have. What's the practical?
One thing that I always bring back to my people at my stores now is I talk about my times at Subway, when my people would get really stressed out, the Victors, the Alicias, the Kayleys, and things like that. And I would just say, hey guys, here's the truth. We're making subs. Okay? We're not trying to cure the common cold or hack into the mainframe of the Pentagon. We are making subs. So let's just put things into perspective. That's number one. Number two, we're going to have a hell of a story to tell after this. Do you remember the time when we ran lunch with 2 people? Right?
Yeah.
Do you remember the time where we ran a 134 car lunch with 4 people? Do you remember the time where we just got smacked on a Sunday dinner that nobody saw coming? 90 cars, 18 item orders. The average ticket was $17. Do you remember that time? It's like, we're going to have a great story to tell, guys, because the best stories always start with really big problems, and we got a big one in front of us right now. So we can either just play the victim, which is a useless character, because the victim's role is just to make the hero look good and the villain look bad. That's it. Or we can fight and get through it and have a great story to tell afterwards. And so that's what I do it. Now, I think what you're really getting at is...
What are the practicals?
Well, that is the practical.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, I think what you're getting at is, what do you do if that happens and it's your day off? Is that what you're getting at?
No, you're at the store.
Okay. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the first thing I would say is stay calm.
Yeah.
All eyes are on you. Stay calm. Prioritize. Like I said this earlier. What are the top 3 things that are pressing right now in the midst of this lunch rush?
Okay, so if you want the practical tactical stuff, then I would say, okay, if we're running 4 people for a lunch on Friday, we know it's going to be busy. We know we're probably going to do north of 134 cars. Okay, here's the deployment in my book. Okay, we're going to put our aces on the drive-through line. Somebody's going to have to dual wield between order taking, service, and they'll have to slide deploy to take front counter orders. But the priority is drive-through, period. And so what we're going to do to not affect our front counter times is we are going to swipe every single front counter order that comes in, and I just call it old school. And then we'll just tape the tickets on the downstairs line, and the front counter people are just going to have to wait. I mean, it's going to suck for everybody, but that's the way it is. We get judged on the cars being green, not red. That's the priority. Here's how we're going to do it. 1, 2, 3, go. So I'd have my aces on the drive-through line. Somebody pivoting as a digital host and the order taker and cashier, and then somebody's soloing it on the downstairs line for front counter orders. That's what I would do, and we would just get through it.
Yeah. No, I mean, we have talked about this before. You know, like we both have had bad days. We've called, we've talked about, and so I kind of have been thinking about this a lot and making notes about, what did Hunter do in this bad day? When you stayed calm, you jumped in where the pain was. If the pain is at the drive-thru, you jumped in where the pain was. You said this, you gave one direction at a time. You, drive-thru, you, there, right?
Yep. Nothing a little pre-workout can't fix either. You take a couple of splits of pre-workout and you're good to go.
And you still protected the crew. Let's say how do you protect the crew in that instance? I am going to handle any customer that comes up that wants to complain and whine. I don't want any of you guys talking to them. I'll handle it. I'm protecting you from that overload.
Yeah.
Right? What else? Other thing that you did that I've noticed, walked into a busy store, is that you're constantly giving tiny little praises.
Yeah.
Good catch. Great job there. You got that sandwich made in record time. You did those tiny little touches kind of thing. Throughout that whole
1 minute managing.
Yeah, that whole mess. You praise the actions in the moment quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then like you just talked about, and you kind of did, you did a little bit of training on the fly. Hey, we're really busy. Let me show you how we're going to get through this. We're going to take these. It's a little bit of teaching, right?
Yep.
And then what you talked about at the beginning, you reset. Hey guys.
That sounds like a plan for structuring your material.
That
sounds like a plan for structuring your material.
I don't know what that was. No, but you did the reset at the end where you said, hey guys, we got a great story to tell.
Yeah.
We got through I'm going to make some pie in the sky. We got through a 200 car lunch. No one's ever done that before. We're going to be talking about this forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think those are the practicals, the hows. You always tell me I'm a how person. And I think we talk a lot about our ideas. I wanted to give practicals.
Yeah. Yeah.
How, because a lot of people that are watching this, they may not be in the position that you're in or the position that I was in that owned multiple stores or something like that. What are the practicals for those people in it?
Yeah. That's what I would tell you.
Yeah.
Know what the priority is. And I think you hit it on the head with stay calm. Yeah. Know what the priority is. And with the particular franchisee that I'm with, we have way less time for a drive-through order than a front counter order. So that's going to be the priority. Right. And
yeah, I mean, we walk in almost every day. There's 15 things that we have to handle, and we can get through them on a normal day, but we walk in and there's 15 things to handle. Clothes was terrible last night. Oh my gosh. The high school, basketball team bus just pulled in the parking lot. Yeah. All right. Let's take those 15 things. What are the top 3? Let's do those. Forget about the other for now.
Yeah.
And let's just do this.
Yeah.
And we'll get through it.
Yeah. The difficulty is sort of triaging what you're judged on in terms of performance and what's important to somebody else on your staff.
Right.
So it's, for example, if I come in and we only have 8 trays of chips, but we typically run with a dozen or more, that to me is not a big deal. okay, well, if we run out of chips, we'll just go on the control center on the back of the house and say that we're out of chips. Because I am judged on the metrics. That is what's tied to my performance. Now, a shift lead is really worried about not having a dozen trays of chips. So that's where I needed to become more empathetic and strong as a leader with this concept early on. It's just like,
Because
it's like, okay, Sharon, we have way bigger problems right now. And I had to circle back before my shift is over because that really affected her. Yeah. So,
well, I can understand
Yeah.
that, especially we talked about this last week
Mm-hmm.
when we talked about empowerment. The employee, and I would take it all the way up to shift lead in that.
Yeah.
They own the guest experience. They're empowered to own the guest experience. So I've empowered them to own the guest experience. Therefore, in their mind, part of the guest experience is chips. Great. I am so glad you're conscious about that.
Yeah.
I need you to be conscious about that because I'm conscious over here and I've empowered the guest experience to you. Let me tell you how this is why I made that decision.
Yeah, where I just really didn't care in the moment because I'm more worried about the metrics so she can get her bonus at the end of the period than I am about the chips on this particular day.
But you've empowered her. You've empowered her. We talked about this. You empowered her to be in charge of to own the guest experience. She took ownership of the guest experience. She was mad there were no chips because she knew her guest would not be happy.
Yeah.
To say, yeah, I understand that. I understand that. Let's get through this, and then I'll tell you where, I appreciate that you're upset about that. Let's get through this, and then I'll explain to you why my thought process.
Yeah.
Right? And you circled back and explained it to her.
Yeah, I mean, because I had to. I mean, you just saw it in her. It's like her head drooped like a flower in a dry spell. It's like, okay, I definitely need to revisit this before I go home.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
but that's all part of it. So the other thing I've been thinking about, and I wanted your take on this. So we hear a lot about, and I almost think it's kind of a catchphrase that's not even practiced, but hey, come and work for us. We're one big family. So I call that the family model, right? And then the other model is the team model. I want to know your thoughts on both models and then what you think practically is the best and why. And then I'll give you my thoughts.
I think the family model is setting you up for failure and lots of hypocrisy. And I think the team model is way more practical because, especially when you have a staff of 30 plus at a fast food establishment, it is a team model. And I, as the head coach, for lack of a better word, need to find my best 7 for lunch, my best 8 for dinner, and the best players play. Period. Then there's no fairness that comes into play. It's like, what? Like what? That doesn't exist. Like, whatever happened to the world isn't fair. Like, if you want competency and confidence, then you're going to get commitment from your crew. You got to go to a team model rather than a family model. A family model, then you're rewarding bad behavior. You're letting the victims you're letting the people who create the problems in your store to be portrayed as the victims, and you're letting a bunch of just BS slide in the attempt to be more like a family when it's not a family. It's not a family. We're all here to do a job, and we're getting paid for it. You don't get paid to to sit and have dinner with your wife and children at the end of the day. You don't get paid for that. It's not a family. It's not a family. I think anybody that has a family core value or has that, what would you call it? The family approach? Family model?
Family model.
Yeah, the family model is just
So this is
There's a lot. It's setting you up for a lot of ambiguity.
my take on it is that the word family is subjective. My idea and definition of family is totally different than yours, and totally different than that person,
Ambiguity.
and totally different than that person. I think if you have a fully family, I mean, there are pros and cons. So the pros to the family model is people feel,
Job security.
yeah, that, but they also feel, they may feel cared for and supported and known. The downside of it
Is entitlement.
is entitlement, is I think leaders then end up dodging the hard talks. They dodge, I don't want to hurt my brother. You know, this person I work with, who's my brother or my sister or my family member, I'm going to I may dodge the correcting them.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think if you have a pure family model, you know, like I come from a good family. I know people that come from a bad family with abusive parents. And if I say we're all one family here, their thought of that is different than my thought, right?
Yeah. Can I circle back to what you said
Sure.
before then? So I think that happens in two different scenarios where people avoid having the crucial conversation. I think it happens in two ways. One, I think it happens to what you said, David, which is when we're a family here and this person's my brother or sister, so I can't have that conversation with. They're afraid to have that conversation with them. Where the ambitious, go-getter, driven leader, after a while, just throws their hands up and knows that it's useless because it's not going to change.
Right.
And so then that leads to quiet quitting.
Right.
Right. Because it's like, okay, well, this isn't going to change. In fact, if I go and try to have this crucial conversation with somebody who's not doing their job, then HR is going to get involved and make my life more difficult, and then they're going to question me as a leader. It's like, okay, whatever. Right. Then I go, whatever. Like, you are filling in hours on a schedule. You're like, if anything, you're just a suck. Like, so, like, I'm not going to deal with you. So I think either situation there applies when it comes to not avoiding the crucial conversation. I think on one hand, there are people who are afraid to have them, and the others are just over it. It's like, okay, well, right. I'm going to go focus on other things.
But I also think that if you have a purely team model approach, the positives are you're coaching all the time. The roles are clearly defined. You are the defensive end. You are the linebacker. You are this. You are that.
Yeah.
But I also think then in that model, people can feel like a number. I am, you know, they don't care about me here. I'm just the defensive end. So to me, the best model is a combination of both. Care for the people, coach them daily, have the talks with them, give them their roles, but make sure that the empathy is there.
The best teams feel like a family, but you wouldn't say that the best families feel like a team.
Right. And I think that's a good way of saying it.
I know.
The best teams feel like a family.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. The best teams feel like a family,
right.
but the best families don't always feel like teams.
You know, because you've been on a lot of teams, right? And you still have a familial relationship with some of your teammates and with some of your coaches.
That's why I'm considering playing for the Ironman again. I miss the guys. I miss the game's fun, but I miss the guys.
So I think if you say we totally have a total family model, it's wrong.
Oh, yeah.
And I also think if you say we have a total team model, it's wrong. I think you need to combine the two. The best teams feel like family.
So then what is the word then? That'll have to be something that you put in your book.
Family.
If you figure out that
theme, I don't know.
If you figure out that.
That's probably the second book.
Yeah.
Or the third. But I think that, I have been embraced by my partner's family, and I am part of that family. But my business partner and I were a team
Mm-hmm.
that grew, and it grew into a family
Mm-hmm.
because we were a good team.
Yeah.
So good teams, what did you say?
Feel like families.
Good teams feel like families.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But so I get a little I get a little leery when I read in these HR spewed out job descriptions about a company that we are family.
It's like, no, you're not.
Yeah, that kind of, it's, and how do you communicate that we're a team? We're a team that feels like a family.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot.
I mean, because I think it goes back to what we were talking about before. Because if it's family oriented and family approach, then you get those really poisonous scenarios where people get entitled and there's this
Right.
ultra
And
job
I can
security.
do
Like,
what-
you
yeah.
can't write me up. You can't fire me. Like,
Yeah,
to
I
hell
can-
with that. Yes, I can, because you suck.
Yeah.
But they're like, what do you mean I suck? I'm a part of a family here.
Right.
Like,
I can do whatever I want because there's no way you can kick me out of the family because, whether you like it or not, I'll always be your cousin. Right? But I also think in the total team model, there can be a feeling of disposability in that this, in the
but
end,
I don't think that's necessarily wrong either, because again, going back to, we're both Christians. I mean, what did Jesus say to the apostles sometimes? Like, how much longer am I going to have to deal with you, perverse generation? Like, he said that to the apostles.
Right.
It's like, people, like, you need to start performing.
Right.
Like, that could be the subtext of what he was saying there.
And the disciples fought among themselves, and Jesus would correct them.
Rebuke them at
And
times.
he would rebuke them, but they always knew that he knew who they were and that he loved them.
Mm-hmm.
So you can rebuke in love. You can rebuke in empathy. I think that if you're a pure team model, sometimes that rebuking in love isn't there. It's just like, and I think that's why you have to have a team that develops into a family, or a team that can feel like a family. If you're part of the team and you perform, you're going to be my brother.
And what did Jesus say? The people who listen to my word are my brothers.
Right.
Like, how is that any different than what we do?
No, but
like,
I mean, I think that sometimes if it's a total team model or a total family model, there are pros and cons to both. So how can I overcome the cons and develop the pros of both into one model?
Mm-hmm.
We're a team that can feel like a family.
Mm-hmm.
Because
But I mean, at the end of the day, you got to perform.
Right.
You got to perform.
No.
Like, if Hunter isn't getting home on third down, it's like, well, then you ain't part of no family, brother. Like,
Yeah,
you need to get to the quarterback.
As a team,
we're paying you to get to the quarterback.
As your coach, though, I am not just going to cut you. I'm going to work with you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, brother, let's talk about this. I wrote this in my book. I used you as an example in my book. That I have this friend that has a great way of saying, hey, you think you're in the right seat?
Mm-hmm.
And you can say, hey, are you in the right seat? No, you may not be in the right seat in this position. So I'm going to take you off of the line because that ain't your strength.
Mm-hmm.
And you are going to be the cashier in the drive-thru.
Yep.
So you're not just cutting them. You're not performing here. Goodbye.
Right.
Right?
Correct.
So that is a combination of both.
Mm-hmm. I'll be interested to figure out and to hear what word you come up with as an amalgam between the two.
Yeah, I'll probably stay up late thinking about it. I like acronyms.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like acronyms because I think they're easy for people to remember.
Yeah.
All right, what else? Those were my two big things that I've been thinking about this week. Is how can we make what we talk about practical?
Yeah.
How can we make servant leadership practical when we're in the weeds?
Yeah.
And how do you define the model of servant leadership?
Mm-hmm.
Because we hear a lot about a team model, we hear a lot about a family model, but how can we model that and combine it? Those were the two things that I've been thinking about this week.
How you combine the two, I think, is by making it a game. How can you make it? How can you gamify what you do?
Yeah.
In as many ways as you can. I think that's a good way to ping pong between the two, family and team, is playing a game, whatever that is.
Right.
What is the game that you're playing? One thing that I want to talk about is, because this is one thing that it's a strength of mine, but it's also a weakness of mine, and that's boredom. So, and this takes a lot of humility to say, and I am a high performer.
Right.
And I get results very quickly. And it's nothing that I do. To what we were just talking about, I really pour into people because I know what this industry can do for somebody who gives a shit. And when you walk into a struggling store and they haven't had that, well, then it's like quite literally inspiration. You have just breathed new life into them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whoa. I mean, I was having a conversation with one of our shift leads Friday night. This is about midnight. I was doing dishes and I said, Jared, come over here. And I said, so I've asked a couple of people this. You guys have literally went from 35th, 36th, like bottom of the barrel to the fastest store in the region in a week. What happened? And he just looks at me and he just looks at me and goes, yeah. And that's hard for me to accept.
Right.
Because I'm only there 30 hours a week. They're the ones who are there. Mm-hmm. The other, whatever, 21 times 7. Like, it's them who are doing it. But the results have come so quick and so fast to now it's not going to be much longer until my 30 hours a week turns to like me being redundant again, like I am at Zealand. And so then I'm constantly thinking, okay, well then what's the next step for me? Because I've got, it's not going to be long, God willing, that I'm going to have 2 units that are operating without me. And so then what? I'm just going to go in there to just punch the clock and make tacos. And so I'm just like, okay, well, what's next for me? So I can then, because if I'm ascending, then somebody's going to have to fill my shoes. And that's a good thing because that's an opportunity for somebody else. And if somebody's filling in my shoes, then there's going to be a position available for an AGM. There's going to be more positions available for shift leads. There's going to be more positions available for team trainers. And one thing that you said to me before is, do I have a problem with stick-to-itiveness? Maybe. But that's one thing we talked about burnout in the beginning. Now we're talking about boredom here. That might be the episode title, but it's how do you, right?
Right.
I'm not sure what my question is I'm asking, but
I'm gonna propose a couple questions. And first I'm gonna make a statement. This is a statement that I made to every time I would promote someone to manager. I will not consider you a fully trained manager until you have been here at least 1 year. Because there are things that are going to come up that may only come up once or twice a year.
Yeah.
I want to see how you deal with them, and I want to see what you learn from them.
Mm-hmm.
So you cannot consider yourself a fully trained person in this position until you've been in that position 1 year. I've said that to every single manager I've ever promoted.
Can I challenge you?
Sure.
You were with one concept for 37 years.
Correct. So there is a little difference, but in any concept, I believe in any concept, there are going to be some things that come up that maybe only come up a couple of times a year.
Mm-hmm.
If you are so, and I'm not saying that it's wrong to look for the next big thing, because I look for the next big thing, but I probably learned more during the boring times of my job than I did during the stressful times or the high intensity times of my job. 30 some years in the QSR industry, I have probably 50 more years of learning yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never not done learning.
Mm-hmm.
Now I want to propose a question about that scenario that you just talked about,
Mm-hmm.
where you walked into the store and they went from here to here in terms of one of the metrics that you measure, correct?
Correct. On pace to have a perfect week upcoming right now.
Okay.
Which is harder to have a perfect period, in my opinion.
You're getting instant gratification, instant gratification, instant gratification. You as their leader, you experienced that with us.
Mm-hmm.
You walked into a store. You took over a store that needed a turnaround.
Mm-hmm.
And you turned it around real quick, instant gratification.
Mm-hmm.
Then we asked you to take over another store. You turned that store around real quick, instant gratification.
Mm-hmm.
You took over as a district manager and a senior district manager. You had turnaround quick, instant gratification, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's say you walked into the store that you just talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still, you've been there a little bit, they're still at number 7. There has been no success.
Mm-hmm.
What's your reaction to that? And you're like, I haven't had any success here whatsoever. I've been here, based upon my experience, my personal experience in the QSR industry. I went into this store, turned it around right away. Went into this store, turned it around right away. Took on a district manager job, turned that district around right away. Took on a senior district manager job, was having great success there, seeing results, blah, 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 blah. Let's say that you didn't have that instantaneous gratification constantly. That you walked into the store, the scenario that you just proposed.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I not seeing this? This is Hunter. I'm a turnaround champion. Why isn't this store turning around? Then what's your reaction? Is it, okay, I'm not seeing any results here, I'm out?
It's hard to answer that question because I haven't had that experience yet.
I know. And that's because I've had both sides.
Mm-hmm.
I've had both sides with managers, not maybe with stores a little bit, but okay, I've put a manager in this position and we're still floundering.
Mm-hmm.
I put a manager in this position and they turn that store around in a week.
The only question that I'd have to interrogate myself on is, am I working when the store needs me most?
Mm-hmm.
So one thing that I had to do, which sucks, about my second location, is that they never got off to a strong start because they didn't have manager coverage, strong people on Wednesday and Thursday nights. So I'm just like, okay, well, I guess I'm working late mids.
I think that's a trap that a lot of managers fall into, is that they see this manager position as, a 10 to 7 or a 10 to 8 job, or, a 9 to 5 or a 9 to 6 job or whatever, and they don't deploy themselves to where they need to be deployed.
And it sucks.
And then I've also seen managers then resent when their leadership comes to them and say, hey, you know what? You need to do some closings. I'm a manager. Managers don't close.
Mhm.
And so that's the sign of a good leader, is they know where to deploy themselves. We go back to that hive that we talked about 3,
Yeah.
4, 5 times ago. They have a vision. They have self-awareness.
Yeah, one of that story that I started off with, talking with Jared, what was I doing? I was doing dishes.
Right.
And so when I was training at my training store back in June, it was actually my first day. My first day, I went back there because the assistant manager went home sick and they were getting crushed. And I just went back there and there was like a war between 2 team members as to where they were going to use me. Like, no, we need Hunter to be frying. Another person was like, no, we need him to do dishes. Otherwise, we're never going to get out of here. And then the one person that was fighting for me to be a fryologist that night was like, bro, he's an RGM. He's never going to be doing dishes. But if that's what needs to be done.
Right.
But so I say that to say, yeah, RGMs, 9 shifts out of 10, they're not going to be doing dishes. They're not going to be closing. They're not going to be doing things that would be better suited for somebody that was hired for that particular position or role. But at the same time, that was one of the questions that I asked my direct report when taking on this location is, where does this store need help? And they said, well, we never get off to a strong start. And then we're always trying to dig ourselves out of a red hole, to try and go green to finish the weekend. Like, okay, well, I'm a morning person. I hate staying up late. Here comes 2 scoops of pre-workout before my 3 to 1 a.m. shift. And if I have to LeBron James it and come in there and do a tomahawk jam and show these people how to go number 1 on speed, then I'm going to do that. And that's, like, you use the word modeling. And so then
Right.
I just tried my best to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm not the fastest person on the line.
So the boredom thing.
Yeah.
I like, that's a good question. But so I am bored now. I got this store where I wanted them to be and where my report wanted them to be in terms of speed.
In terms of everything. The one thing that's going to be difficult for us to overcome, although I said that they are on pace to have a perfect week, which is insane. Perfect period will be difficult because of the labor piece, because it's a slower store.
Right.
That's going to be hard. So
that's my next focus.
Is the labor piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but at the same time, then this goes back to the burnout piece. I'm not going to burn my people out just to try and find. I'm not going to run a
But how can I solve it?
I'm not going to run a 3-person lunch.
No,
just
but
so we can make labor.
you figure out how can I solve this?
Yeah, and we're having those discussions now. What is it? How do we do it? Speed obviously helps, but so does customer service, right? Because then people will literally, if we deliver a remarkable service, then people will remark about it, right? And then they'll hopefully over time, well, not overnight, but people start coming in droves because we're kinder, right? It's a more pleasant experience that we're delivering. That's not an overnight fix. Speed is more of the overnight fix. Yeah. So,
I mean, in the acronym QSR, quick service restaurant.
Yep.
And if we, it's like, so there's only 2 metrics in that.
Quick and service.
Quick and service, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I tend to, and I think a lot of franchises do, but I tend to look at the S part, the service part. And I push the quick part to my people.
Mm-hmm. I think that's one of the best ways to make a turnaround is to just, I know, because I've done it twice in the past 90 days, is just chase speed, fixes a lot of things. But I think the next evolution that needs to happen, especially with some of these things that fast food concepts they're like trying to flirt with being a fast casual, just based on their menu size and a myriad of other things that they're deploying in store. I think there'd be a lot of good if they just threw the speed out the window. You would have less mistakes on the builds going out the window, less stress. I mean, your throughput would definitely come down a bit, but less complaints, better product quality due to them not being in a rush to make the beefy 5-layer burrito and everything else.
I think that it's important to develop in your people the ability to read the customer. You have that. I think it's a hard skill to develop. I walk into a QSR restaurant. I want to walk in, place my order, get my food accurately, and go.
I know you hate rote questions, so then, but does
Right.
that become part of the script?
Someone, well,
Are you in a rush today?
I hate rote questions like everybody has to say, welcome to taco, whatever.
Yeah.
Welcome to, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Don't say everybody has to say this, except for Chick-fil-A, where I love the my pleasure. I think that's one of the best things that ever happened to quick service restaurant. But don't punish someone if they don't say my pleasure. So I don't like rote scripts. I like rote routines. Make sure you greet the person within X amount of seconds when they walk in the door. I'm not going to tell you what to say to greet them. You may say, hey, or you may say, how you doing? Or I'm going to be right with you. So I don't like rote scripts. I like rote routines, not rote scripts. But reading the customer, I walk in, I want in and out. You've had customers that have come in and they want to share with you because you are their guy, their sub, their whatever. Hey, picked up the grandkids yesterday. We had a great time. We did this, we did that. They're not looking for in and out in 3 minutes and 10 seconds. They want to have a 10-minute, 15-minute experience with you. How do we train our people to be able to read the customer on what they want? That, I think, is important. Because there are some, in a QSR industry, there are some people that want the quick, and there are some people that want the service.
Yeah.
Either how do we train our employees to be able to recognize, is this a quick customer, is this a service customer? Or how do we combine the two?
I don't think you can do that. Just firsthand experience with a fast food concept. I don't think you can do it, and especially with some of the things that are happening. At least with the concept that I'm in right now, I think they have to draw a line in the sand and say this is what we're going to be, and that's just the way that it is. And if you're going to be fast, then that's what you're going to be. But if you want less complaints, if you want a better customer experience, if you want to start to make the shift towards more of a fast casual, then you need to diminish the importance of speed. And I think if you do that, again, customers first, employees more first, you're going to have less stress, which is going to lead to a better service being provided, which is going to be better product builds being handed out the door, less mistakes equals less complaints, and an overall better experience for the customer because there's more time to deliver it.
So I hate
like, hey David, how you doing? Like, get the fuck out of here. Right. Like that's not an experience.
No.
That's a transaction.
Right.
That's a word that you use. Yeah.
How do I hate walking into any restaurant, and I don't care if it's a QSR restaurant, a quick casual restaurant, a fine dining restaurant. I don't even care if it's a restaurant, any business. I hate walking into there and feeling like I'm an interruption to their job.
Yeah, and when you have speed being such a KPI of import, then you're going to have that where customers are going to feel like an inconvenience.
So, but also,
especially the one, because I'm telling you, David, you're on something there. I mean, because that's exactly the feeling, especially when we're in the middle of a rush and somebody wants to get chatty with my order taker.
They're an interruption.
Yeah, you just feel it on the line with my people. They're just like, oh my God. Right. There's like this person's taking a minute and a half and they haven't even gotten their order in? Like, what comes on that? What about this? Oh, do you guys have the fries yet? What about the quesadillas? Oh, those went out a long time ago. Well, geez, I never knew that. Like, what do you got? Like, so then the clock is ticking, and we are judged on that clock. But so it's a huge inconvenience.
Yeah. But I can tell you this. This is me personally.
Yeah.
If I go into some place and I feel like I'm interrupting them, I'll drive the extra mile to the next. I want a burger. I want this particular burger.
Yeah.
And this is the closest place, but every time I go there, I feel like an interruption. I'm driving to the next place. And may it be owned by a different franchisee, you lost my dollars.
Right, but employee more first. And my employees are judged by the clock.
Right.
They're judged by the clock.
And I can understand that because I've also been in a drive-through line where I'm the 6th, 7th car back, and I know that the standard in that drive-through line is 3 minutes from order to bag out the window.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm sitting there going, I'm the 6th car back. It's going to take me 18 minutes to get my food. Right?
Yeah.
How do we balance that? That's, I think, is probably...
You can't.
But I think that's got to be a question that's got to be answered.
It's a fine question, but I'm giving you the answer. In my opinion, I don't think you can balance it. You have to decide, because you can't chase two rabbits. If you chase two rabbits, you'll catch neither. You got the fast food needs to draw a line in the sand. Are we going to be fast, or are we going to be delivering a better customer experience? They have got to make.
I don't think we can do both at the same time.
Nope. Unless you're gonna increase the times. Unless you're gonna increase the times to 4 minutes, 5 minutes on the drive-through, then no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because we know, even if, yes, there is a good enough standard, and it's called green, but we are constantly pushing for the fastest time overall in the day part, so that if there is a bad day part after our shift or something happens, whether on that day or the next, we have enough cushion to have made up for that bad day part. Does that make sense? So you're constantly always trying to build cushion. And it's not just, no, we're good if we run a 329 because 330 or less is considered green. No, to hell with that. We're trying to be as fast as we possibly can, so that when we leave and we go home tonight, if the night crew gets smacked, or if somebody doesn't show up, right, or if somebody has to go home, we know that we've built up enough cushion for them so that that won't affect our overall metrics for that particular day. And then you really start to feel that towards the end of the period, where it's like, okay, well, that's the importance of us starting off so strong the first day of the first period, the first week of the first period, the first 2 weeks of the period, so that even if we have a bad week, we know that we've built up enough cushion the first 14 days of that 28-day period where they're okay. We're still going to go perfect. Everybody's in a full bonus, right? So we've got to make a distinction as a industry. What are we going to do? Are we going to chase fast, or are we going to chase friendly? What are you going to do? You can't do both. You can't do both unless you raise the ceiling for speed to be something that's far more manageable without the stress.
Have you ever been through a trick? I bring them up a lot because I love this concept. Have you ever been through a Chick-fil-A drive-through?
No, but the more that you talk about it, the more that I feel like I need to experience it.
Go through a Chick-fil-A drive-through.
Is it fast?
It's fast.
Yeah.
With service. They do not have a window. They have a door.
Do they have, what are their metrics?
I don't know. I don't know exactly what their metrics are.
Well, I need to know that.
Yeah. But they also have, their staff is outside.
Right.
With tablets.
Yep. That I have
orders,
seen.
You know. And you've driven by a Chick-fil-A and you've seen, 20, 30 cars going through in the drive-through line.
Mm-hmm.
And I go by that and I think, why would I pull into that drive-through seeing this long line? And I watch car after car after car. Pull up, pull up, pull up. One of these days I should just sit there and time it. And I'll do that.
We should. Well, you and I should just go in and see if we can see a car monitor in the back and see if they are tracking speed. Because if they are, well, then I'm interested.
And they have.
But the thing about the Chick-fil-A thing that we're not mentioning, if you're going to do that, but what do they have that every other QSR does not? They have a built-in day off for rest.
Right.
And if you have rest, you're going to be better, which is what you talked about at the beginning of this episode.
I did talk about it. Yeah.
So that's a huge caveat that we can't ignore if we're going to bring up the Chick-fil-A concept.
So can you be, yeah, I don't know if you can. How can you not still be open on Sunday and have that rest built in? That I don't know if that's,
you can't.
Yeah, I don't know if you can.
Because even when you're off, you're on.
Right.
Because if something does happen.
Especially for a manager, because the business is still open, you're still 365, 24/7.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that attributes to a lot of their employee satisfaction surveys. You look at their employee satisfaction surveys, they're through the roof. Their retention rate is probably one of the best in the industry. That extremely little turnover retention, obviously same coin, opposite sides. Customer satisfaction, though, is really high. And it may be that built-in, mandatory built-in rest.
It's biblical.
Well, it is biblical. It is. I mean, God created, the world in 6 days, and on the seventh day he rested. Do you think God needed to rest? God doesn't need to rest. He's omnipotent. This is my book. This is straight from my book, okay? Why God was modeling rest for us. God doesn't need to rest. He's all powerful, all knowing, there's no way that God needed to rest on the seventh day. So why did he rest on the seventh day? He was modeling servant leadership to us about the importance of rest. I mean, there, I gave you a teaser of my book.
Yeah.
That's why rest is important. And I think the Cathay family, they realized that.
Yeah.
So they modeled it.
Speaking of books, you can pick up my book, The Way Out of Self-Sabotage into Self-Mastery at Amazon.com or HunterStrasky.com. When the hell is your book going to be out?
So I'm about ready to give you my final draft.
Okay.
And then we'll get it off to your editor.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, I was working on it. Yeah. So Hunter this is just for you guys. Hunter talked about he's a morning person and I'm a night person. And yeah, we've had a lot of 1 a.m. phone calls, haven't we?
That has been the nice part. That has been the nice part of working the later mids, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Yeah. But I don't know how much longer that's going to be happening, just because, I mean, the last 2 hours on Friday night, I was doing dishes. Like, they were fine.
Yeah.
They were number one when I left. I'm almost becoming redundant already. And it's just a testament to those kids and those leaders there. I mean, they see it and they're doing amazing things. I mean, like I said, they went from, one thing that Jared said is, because they were 1 and Zealand was 3, they were saying, he had said, Zealand was probably laughing at us a couple of weeks ago. Now they probably hate us since Hunter's here. Right? I mean,
I think healthy competition is important in the QSR industry.
Yeah. But then
it has to be healthy competition. It can't be, it has to be healthy competition. It can't be you suck because you came in 10th.
Well, I mean,
yeah, but I mean, it has to be healthy and it has to be balanced, and it has to be on things that are attainable for all the locations. Food cost, waste is attainable for all locations. Sales, AUV, is not attainable for all locations. So percentage increase is attainable for all locations. Speed, that's attainable for all locations. Labor, it's not attainable for all locations. But percentage dropping is attainable for all locations. So, I mean, I like healthy competition, but it has to be healthy. It can't be
a zero-sum game.
Yeah, it can't be a zero-sum game. So hopefully you guys got some practical out of this and not just some esoteric kind of stuff. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
We're good.
All right. Oof.